maybe, I don't know the name of it by title.
It's when what was it? The All-Star game?
Oh, yes.
Is that what it was?
It was a concert.
It was a concert?
Yeah.
I've seen a basketball game one.
But I feel like it was like a corporate event.
No, I might be thinking about something else, but there was one time where like 50 Cent bought like
Oh,
tickets.
yeah.
And people were like,
That I think those are two separate
50
things.
is the level of petty I would love to
Yes.
achieve.
Yes.
To just be rich and like petty.
Yes.
At least the people that kind of deserve it.
Yeah. We're good, right? Cool. Yay, we're back with Edson
Hey!
again.
What's good, you? What's good, you? Hey, I see you too at home.
Technically, third time.
No, they don't know about that.
Oh, yeah,
This
I don't
is
know what you're
actually
talking
the
about.
first time.
We just met. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, yeah. Oh, crazy. Life is crazy.
No, yeah, this is awesome. Choreographer, teacher, professional dancer, booked professional dancer.
It's one of those things where it's like, as you're saying it out loud, is like a reality that settles in. Because I don't even try to navigate in those regards in terms of like, I guess, labels and stuff. But in the field that, you know, I exist in terms of career path, it is something to grasp and appreciate.
I mean, it's true. You are all those things.
Yeah.
Those things are all true. They're not exaggerations.
No, facts. Thank you. Appreciate that.
My mom always lets me know when she sees the Lotto commercial.
Yo, shout out to Angie at home. She will text me when her mom sees the commercial. She's like, I saw Edson on TV at 5 a.m. Like, Connie, what are you doing? But I also understand she's a teacher. Like, she has to be up that early. But yeah, no, ironically, I have yet to see it formally on any kind of medium that way.
For real?
Like, when I found out that it was out, I saw it, I think, on like their Instagram, and then I went to YouTube to just kind of rip the video from there. But I have yet to see it like on TV or anywhere like that. I've definitely gotten hit up from friends that like were at random bars in Long Island that just like saw my face, and I'm like, wow, you're welcome. But
that's fun.
Yeah, that experience was a crazy one in the best way to like describe it. John Rua, who was the choreographer, he's like a big bro mentor to me. He kind of is the blueprint in terms of like what I want to do dance wise.
He was in Hamilton, right?
Yes, he was like original cast.
Yeah. He's oh my god.
Oh
the
my
guy
God.
that gets in the
Yes.
gunfight. With John Lawrence.
Yes,
in the recording.
The name is forgetting. It's leaving me too, but yeah.
Charles Lee, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Charles Lee. Yeah. Shout out to John Rua.
I'm a general.
I know. Yeah. Shout out John Rua, big
so
bro.
cool.
Yeah, he was the choreographer, and I was doing a gig with him at the time, and like he put me onto the job opportunity, but I still had to go through like a formal auditioning process.
Okay.
So after like booking it, that was something that felt like was truly something that I earned. It wasn't just like, you know, we're homies, so you could just pull up and be on TV kind of thing. It was like he gave me the alley-oop, and it was just on me to
dunk that shit. Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, and we shot it. I don't know relative to geography where we are, but it was like by Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
They shut down like a little intersection. I felt it was an interesting day because just that area, the people that lived there didn't want their lives to kind of just be put on pause for a lottery commercial. So there was a lot of interesting scenarios that was going on. Yeah. There was like one woman that was just kind of yelling into the abyss about like, you know, us taking over the block kind of thing, which I can understand.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we had to shut down a bodega for the day, and that's like, you know, people's necessities get put on hold. So
I can see that.
Yeah. So, I mean, apart from that, it was definitely a fun experience, but it helped me to stay grounded in the moment and not be so caught up with like the lights and the cameras. To still have that like perspective on who could be affected just by the production. But all in all, I'm super grateful for that. That was like, that came at an interesting time too. This happened like last summer.
Yeah.
At this point, 2022.
It's funny. I don't think I thought about like the choreography aspect of it because it comes off as like a very like free movement type of thing. So like I don't know what was that process like? Like how did I guess like John give you steps or like direction? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so there was like a vague list of songs that they wanted to try to accompany like the dancing to. And so in terms of like making up choreo, it had to be super fluid and loose. We did meet up like once or twice prior to essentially go over general phrases and sequences that we wanted to capture.
Gotcha.
And then there was opportunity to improv in between some of them.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of what you do see is choreography, but then it allows me to like play a little bit more in terms of just the surroundings.
Got you. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Like the one scene where I'm kind of like sliding down the back of a moving truck.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a nerve-wracking thing to do because that was like the first shot of the day that they wanted to get, and it's like, let's start with a stunt, right?
Get this out the way.
Yeah, so they got like the conveyor belt, the drop bed, and then they dust it with like baby powder to get that sense of like real slide and traction. And it was a weird setup because they wanted me to have like a running start, jump, and then like, you know, Silver Surfer it down the thing, and they want to capture like a specific frame or like picture of it. So it was, I don't know, I felt a little like John Wick, like prepping.
He does his own stunts.
Yeah, honestly. But yeah, man, commercials. 777 lottery. If you know, check that out if you're
Scratch off.
New York, tri-state. I think it's only New York.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody in Jersey saw it. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Also, did you know like how Latino the theme was gonna be?
I knew they were leaning into like that type of salsa sound for the music, but I did not have any inclination that it was gonna be as like rooted in Hispanic and Latino as it was, and that was something that like I grew a sense of pride in the process of, and especially afterwards, because it's like my dad was able to share that like with my family and stuff, and it wasn't just something that like I did that's Americanized. It was like they could see it on like Telemundo and so on and so forth. So it was a super proud moment to have in like my resume or thing of experiences.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. The first time I saw it, I was like, "Yo, this is Hispanic as fuck."
I know, bro. They had it.
Love it.
I think in the fittings, when they were just deciding what they wanted me to look like, I was like, okay, I definitely look like I'm in like Little Havana. So like, they wanted the button shirt with the tank top. They let me keep my own jewelry, which I think just added to the aesthetic. And then they had me like dressed kind of baggy with like some regular black shoes. It was a very hot day though, so they had like multiple copies, I guess, of the outfit, and then in between takes, I would have like 3 people, like the makeup group, kind of fanning me down and patting me dry and switching tank tops and shirts just because it would just kind of be drenched from dancing. That was like a 13-hour day.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was like 6 to 7. Yeah.
Damn, that's wild because it's all. I mean, all the exterior stuff is like daytime stuff.
Yes, a lot of it was. Was like setting up shots, setting up like the equipment and lighting and stuff like that. But they wanted to ensure that the lighting was as consistent as possible throughout the day, which they did a good job too, because like obviously the sun moved throughout those 13 hours,
starting in the morning.
Yeah, so they were able to manage it not looking like they shot in 6 and then 7, so on and so forth.
Professionals.
That was a learning. Like I tried to definitely be honed in to like what was happening behind the scenes to like one day be in that position. But it was definitely a lot of moving parts.
Hell yeah.
I learned that there's a person that gets paid for continuity, like to ensure each frame is supposed to be what it is, and like, you know, the way your clothes are put together. I'm like, wow. But it also makes sense, right? Those little details really help the end product. Yeah,
there's like, what is it? Script supervisor?
Yes.
That just like make sure everything's by the book. Was that your first kind of commercial experience? Because I know you've done like live stuff, but like as far as like a campaign or like anything like that.
That was the first commercial where footage I was recorded in made it to the final cut, if you will. But it was also a unique experience where like I was the principal lead. Like there wasn't really anyone else in the shot except for like the extras walking around. Yeah. But it was like the commercial is me. The first commercial I ever did was Russell Westbrook, I think, had a collab with Jordan. And so they just had like a bunch of different dancers dancing in like his apparel and his shoes. My take didn't make it to the final then, but that was my first commercial experience.
Got you.
I did that, this was probably like 2015 at this time. I did that commercial with Da. Rob Bynes was there. It was a large group. It was a super large group. It was like older people and then like kids and then just a range of different kinds of movers.
They were probably moving that like line when, because isn't Russell Westbrook is a Jordan athlete, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So it's probably like his apparel line.
Yeah.
So like they gotta get all the
what is it called?
size run.
What is it called? What would you do? Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Right?
Something
that
like
rings a bell.
I'm just remembering like the W and stuff. But yeah, shout out Russell Westbrook. Bring that back. Put me in the final cut, bro. Come on. Yeah. Crazy.
But I remember, damn, what was it? Was it for Fish?
The concert?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That is another thing. So I'll definitely say that like a lot of the big opportunities I've got have been through John Rua.
Oh, word?
And that like there have been a handful of opportunities where I've had to go through just a formal audition process, like through an agency or just kind of word of mouth. But all of the like really big, extravagant things that I've done have been in part to John Rua's just passing me that opportunity.
Did you train under him?
Yeah, there was so how we even came about to meeting, knowing each other. I auditioned to be part of MSA.
Okay.
I think like early 2015 or 2016, and he was the choreographer in the audition process. I show up dressed in like a highlighter yellow like hoodie and like some skinny jeans, like light blue. Like I stick out essentially, right? So his style is predominantly based in like funk styles, a lot of foundational elements, and so I kind of like leaned into that growing up. Whereas like I feel like at the time, a lot of the dancers pursuing professional work weren't really trained in that. It was more like commercial industry type of movement. So naturally the choreo came to me, and then just me being dressed the way I was, like I stuck out more. And he saw something in me that was like, you know, I want to be part of this guy's like journey. So he actually got in the agent's ears to like, you know, you should add this guy to your roster.
Dope.
So I get picked up by MSA, and then he like reaches out to me, and then I just kind of start taking his class randomly, and then from there we build that relationship kind of organically. And then he hits me up about like opportunities to do. I think this was the time he was working on Hamilton, and so there was a Travelers Insurance, the company. They have like, I guess, an annual retreat where they have all of their employees come in to this one location, and they do like week-long events. Okay. So this happens in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's like the summertime of 2016 or 2017, and then they hire some of the actors from Hamilton. So it's like John, the gentleman that played George Washington,
Chris
Jackson, and then Anthony Ramos. He was there too, and then his girlfriend as well. Her name I'm leaving. Then.
Jasmine Cephas Jones.
Yes. At the time they were together. Yeah. So they had like their own kind of performances and acts. They did like different numbers from the musical, and John hit me and another dancer, Brianna Mercado, to essentially dance an original number to one of the songs.
Oh, dope.
So that was like the first thing. Like got flued out, stayed in like I was in my own penthouse suite type shit. Can I curse?
Yes.
Cool. I mean, I'm not going to, but I was in my own, like, it was my first kind of luxury opportunity with dance involved, and then from there, just different things came about. Fish.
What was the song that you had to perform
Oh man, it was. I think it was like 3. I think it was. Whoa, 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 oh. I'm not throwing away my shot.
It's like my shot. Yeah. That's the end
it was
of
that
shot.
one, and then it was 2 others. Names of songs sometimes leave me, so I can't remember it right now. But yeah, it was 3 numbers that he got to choreo, so it wasn't like choreo from the show or the musical. Right. It was like original, his own stuff. Yeah.
And it was just you two? Mm-hmm. Dope.
It was like a little stage. They had like a live band and stuff, so it wasn't too much room to play with. I don't even think they anticipated there to be a dance performance.
For real?
Yeah, I think they just thought they were gonna have like performers, singers, and stuff.
The cast of Hamilton.
Yeah, yes. Right. Honestly, it was one. Yeah. I'm looking around like, oh, sure. Yeah, I was the bullet. You know?
I'm Ariana DeBose.
Yeah. But like fast forward a couple years, he gets hit up to do Madison Square Garden Fish concert. And then he calls upon like, I think it was like 50 dancers.
Yeah, that looked huge.
He has a collective, like he has his own network of dancers that he calls the Grit. So it's kind of like an informal team, people that he just utilizes, that he trusts, and you know, that relationship's there. That was a crazy opportunity as well, because it was like we prepped for about a month and a half, and that was like a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, like 8 hours, like figuring out all these moving parts, because there were these, what would you call them? Like risers, I guess. And they were almost in a nesting kind of situation where it was like one set of risers would fold into the next, and so on and so forth. And they were like color coded. I think it was like yellow, green, blue, red. So like 13 or so dancers per group, and then figuring out these kind of militant army-esque transitions and formations. And we were supposed to be clones of the Fish members.
Right. That's what I peed.
And so I got to be Trey. They put me in like a red beard and like the wig and glasses, and it's just like this is a black Trey. Like he put me like front and center of one of the sections too. So it's like all these people get to see me and be like, yo, there's a black Trey. that's crazy. I didn't turn into a meme though or anything like that. I think that's something that like deep down I wish would have happened.
Still trying to check that off the list.
Honestly, just like what the fuck, this guy's on stage. But that was such a whirlwind experience, because it was like being able, like my experience with PD and just the competition scene is one thing that I know how to navigate a little bit, but when it comes to like putting on a live show performance on stage, concert-wise, there are some through lines that feel familiar and similar, but there's like other complete aspects that take it to another level where I'm like, I'm learning in this moment, aside from just the dancing.
For sure.
Dealing with like different departments and all that.
Yeah, and then it's something for like MSG. So it's like, it's an arena.
I know, and it was sold out, and we danced like into the new year, so it was like the first number was like 11:57.
That's fire.
And then we like part of the dancing was celebrating at the drop, and then it was like 30 more minutes of dance to go. And mind you, like Fish is the kind of or they have the kind of environment where, you know, people are just in their zone. They're doing their thing. Let's just say, as I was waiting backstage, you know, you can smell the love in the air, so to speak. It was super dank. So it was super dope to just kind of be in that instance, because it's like I always had the kind of notion that like some jobs or most jobs in the professional commercial world, there's like an air to how you should behave and navigate. Yeah, pun intended. But then being there in like Madison Square Garden, which is kind of like the mecca of New York and the East Coast, and being Jersey-based is like to be in my backyard, if you will. It just shows me that there's more than what I thought there was access to.
Yeah. That's always like encouraging too. When you get to work with people like of that stature in the music industry too, where like, yes, there is professionality to it, and like, of course, like you want to keep it as professional as possible. But then like when you get to find out that like, oh, like it's not so like uptight or like taken too seriously, you know, with certain artists or like certain experiences, like that's always like a nice relief. And it's like, all right, I can be myself.
When we got to meet the band, like they were all super chill and laid back, and I mean that's probably just their nature and like what is it called? Jam band?
Yeah, that's
right. Like they just rock out.
With their history, they are that band.
Yeah,
that's known to be mad chill.
It made that experience that much more like worthwhile, knowing that the people at the top, the people that were like supporting, are actually down to earth and chill, and doesn't feel like, you know, two opposing forces trying to put together this performance.
Or even like worse than that, like they might not even have interacted with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they could be artists that don't even acknowledge that other talent is on stage with them.
Which I have had experience more recent than not. Whether or not we get into that.
I mean, that's up to you. You don't have to say names. We can talk about it off camera too.
Nah, but yeah,
it'd be like
cool.
that.
Yeah. Honestly, you can't experience the great opportunities without knowing what the not so great opportunities are like.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, and then like, so like obviously, you know, been on stages in front of audiences. What is that arena audience energy like?
There is nothing like that. Like, there was a small moment in time where I entertained the idea of like being a backup dancer and going on tour, but then I felt like my role or my purpose is to kind of be home and like just help cultivate and nurture the community, and I can't quite do that like if I'm out and about.
Right.
That's not to say that maybe someday down the line I won't go for like a couple months or so, but just that opportunity, like again, being backstage and then just like hearing that, like prior to that, the largest crowd that I've performed in front of was like maybe 2,000 at like Elements in Boston one year. And after a certain depth, you can't see faces or figures really, so you can't even compute that there are that many people out there. But in MSG, like, it's just a void and then like the flashing lights. And then with it being New Year's, there's like other elements to it. So it just felt like a dream. Like, I did not want it to end at all. I really made sure that I was like intently present throughout it all, just so I can vividly remember what those moments were like. But it could have been an overwhelming thing, like to just be center focus, and I don't even know what the capacity is for MSG, but it was like the
20,000, I think.
Yeah,
like
it
18
was
to 20.
Ridiculous.
And then with a concert, it's different.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Obviously, you don't have the
pit is more standing room.
So general admission, whatever.
Crazy. Yeah, I remember like making eye contact with a couple, not performers, a couple audience members, spectators, and them just being like, holy, like them seeing Michael Jackson back in like the 80s type, like just, I can't comprehend what's going on. It's New Year's, I'm at New York and there's a black tray on stage. It was just a lot of questions that were being answered in that moment.
Dude. What a sick experience. And then, like, again, MSG, the Mecca, like, that's the play. Every performer, not even just dance, like I hear stand-up comedians talk about it all the time. Like, that's the place that everyone wants to play just because it still has that. That history. I love that.
It was funny too, because during like the downtime of that day, it was like a group of us that were, I think, just looking to go get food somewhere. So we're kind of exploring MSG, and there's like a UFC event happening in another room.
Oh shit!
So we see like the octagon from like, I guess, the mezzanine level. We're like, oh, there's a lot happening here tonight.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's probably in the what is it? Is it the Hulu theater still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. It seemed like a small, relative to the arena, it
Yeah.
seemed like a smaller.
Yeah. I always forget they have that second theater.
I didn't even know. I literally thought MSG was just that one.
Yeah, no.
But then, I mean, it would make sense that they would try to maximize the different kind of opportunities they could bring in.
They like legit moved MSG at one point.
Oh, really?
Like it used to be 2 blocks over.
Oh.
It's like pushed it.
That's crazy. They just put it on like the bed of a truck. Like they're moving. That's wild. Wow. The more you know.
Is that, would you say that's the biggest stage you've been on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's
100%. That's the biggest stage, loudest, all of the things.
All the ESTs.
Yeah. Realest, biggest, dumbest, happiest, stupidest, like all of the things, man.
That's so.
Yeah.
Let's talk about teaching. I took your class last night. I'm tired.
Me too.
But this is the second time I've been able to take you, and the precedent that you set. I like how consistent that is, but I'm curious. Like, do you have that sort of like, they're not rules, but like that phrasing of, this is what I would like for you to get out of this class? Like, how much or how long have you used that? Like, is that a thing that you've always tried to establish at the top of your classes, like a more recent sort of philosophy?
I think the way I navigate how I conduct my classes, especially in regards that you're talking about, has been something that I have tried to like cultivate more recent than not. I'll be honest in saying that, like, in my early time of teaching, my intention was more so to be able to get my teaching to take me to different places.
Okay.
And so like I would want to teach so that I could teach here, XYZ, travel, so on and so forth. And so the intention was never primarily about like the student's experience. It was just like, how could I capitalize and maximize this moment so that I can
it's more
go
like
places.
a portfolio.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then I don't know, I just had like a retro or introspective moment where I wanted to really think about like, how am I separating myself from just like the saturated landscape of teaching? Like, what does my style look like? What does my teaching capability look like, so that, people that come into my class really feel like it's a unique experience and not just one that can be compared to the next thing?
Yes.
So I started to think more of like, what do I want as a student in the space that I am responsible for curating? And then that turned into like just being intentional about what the training is.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I've understood that my movement or my way of choreographing has a lot of foundational elements and technique in it. And so there's an aspect in training that comes from that, but it's also like mentally, where are we guiding ourselves throughout this hour and a half, 2 hours, hour 15 process. So I've taken a lot more of a grounded approach in terms of like, what can I provide for the class? What can I provide for each student taking the class? And how can I help the environment feel like unique to what they're usually accustomed to or exposed to?
Yeah.
But that came with me being able to like take a step away from just dance in general, let alone teaching, to really understand like what my relationship with that looked like, what I wanted it to be. And then once I, understood that purpose a lot more clearer and thoroughly, then I was able to make the proper adjustments in how I navigated, how I conducted myself. I appreciate you pulling up. Each time has been like such a pleasant surprise. Like I feel like there was definitely a point in time where I would have an expectation of not necessarily specific people showing up, but just like a certain turnout, if you will.
Yeah.
But now I walk in like whoever shows up, whether that's one person or if it ends up being like sold out and packed, I'm gonna lock in with those that are in attendance.
Yeah.
So I always love to see you in class and like just doing my stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I had been waiting for the opportunity because you usually teach at a higher level.
Yes.
Which makes sense. That's what I was telling Rachel yesterday. Like, it's like, yeah, like once I saw, it's like, oh shit, Edson's doing beginner advanced? All right, but I have to. And then this pop-up one, because that last one, that was like a part of a series, right? Yeah. You just kept like upping the level each class, right? This one, I saw you had a slot, like maybe like last week I saw it come up like on Instagram, and I was like, okay, cool, I like Edson teaching Bodega. And then the morning of, I saw you post it with the beginner, advanced beginner on it, and I was like,
because they didn't like,
okay, because it literally was just like a series of pop-ups.
Yeah.
And then I saw you put it, I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, we in there.
Yeah.
Oh, we in there.
Now I have to go.
Yeah. And I brought back a throwback song too.
Yeah,
like,
I love that.
That song is peak like 2000s, early 2010s music.
Just chicken head your
I
way
know, Chingy right there. Like that was a time. That was a time for just fun dancing.
Yeah.
I'm
here for it.
Yeah. Honestly, low key. I think that's something that I've been wanting to encompass in the beginner level classes, because I feel like there used to be a part of me where it was like a little ego filled, where it's like, I want to push the envelope, so like I'll only teach harder level classes.
Gotcha.
But then there was another part of it where it was like a little insecure in terms of like, how can I not dumb myself down, but how could I make it so a beginner level class is still a little bit challenging, but can be grasped. And then I think taking it back to just enjoying it and having a little bit more like rooted hip hop elements in terms of grooves and foundation led me in a direction where I feel comfortable and like confident with being able to teach like beginner level classes. I felt like Jill's, shout out to my sister Jill's, like she is the example of an educator, instructor, and so that was like a lane that I respect her taking.
Yes, I've taken her class multiple times, and yes, it's always education and movement.
So that was another thing of like, not necessarily stepping on her toes, but it's like if there's beginner level classes, that's not something I just want to jump on into. But then, CJ, shout out to CJ and Bodega, and then just like other people that typically take my classes, they would inquire about like beginner classes, like why don't I teach beginner classes? So it just put a seed in my head, like I'll try it out. And just like, what's the worst that could happen? Like I'll try it out, and I've been enjoying how I've been doing with those classes and just the overall turnouts and the energy at the end of the class, because I feel like depending on the teacher, depending on the environment, the energy towards the end of the class can either feel kind of like defeated or it was just something to do for the day and now you're on to your next thing. But I definitely have been getting a sense of like fulfillment and joy seeing the people that have taken the beginner classes like really just let loose and have fun, still be challenged in their own right and respect, but not feel like they're going home and it was like a shit show essentially. Like it's almost like a proud dad moment a little bit.
That's like you said, fun but challenging. I think sums it up perfectly, your class, because I like, just for example, I'm taking Alice's class. Alice Wu, shout out Mama Wu.
Mama Wu eats.
She teaches at the advanced beginner level like pretty consistently, right? But like her advanced beginner is like more emphasis on the advanced. Like it's a push.
Okay.
It's an advanced beginner push.
Yeah.
Whereas like I noticed the two with you is very open in terms of adding your own style or feelings, which to me that's the challenge, you know, because the steps are there, and then it's up to you, you know, to put that flavor on it. So like when you're teaching, like if you're teaching, you know, the first couple 8 counts, it's like, okay, yeah, like this movement makes sense. Yep. And then when you show it, and it's like all those little nuances that you add to it, it's like, oh, this is what we're really here to learn. Like, we're gonna learn the steps, but what we're really here to learn is like how to really sink our teeth into it. Yeah, love
I think because like going back to me thinking about like as a student what I would want, like a lot of the times when I'm training and I'm taking class, I'm using class as what it is, like an opportunity to like take risks and you know, troubleshoot and figure out what I can do more of, what I could do less of, what I could do better, so on and so forth. And so I'm always pushing forth that like the choreo is the blueprint, but the intention in the class isn't the what, but the how. Like how are you using your individual unique strengths to have this one-on-one conversation, right? Like public speakers can be like you can focus on a person. Public speakers can be captivating because of how they conduct themselves in terms of like where their inflections are, right? Like Barack Obama doesn't just talk like this, right? Like he can be a little bit here, but then he can like reel you in here. And so translating that to dance is like, how are you putting these nuanced details and moments so that if we're doing the same choreo, it'll still look different based on just like our personality and experiences.
It's like delivery versus information.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then also that has to stem down from the teacher, you know, like for me to feel that comfortable, like that's the energy that has to be cultivated in the class. So like shout out to you for doing that and like making us actually feel comfortable to, you know, want to take those risks and stuff. Because like I said, like there's been some classes where it's like, oh no, I'm just learning choreo today, and that's fine. Like there's room for that.
It's your zone.
But that's fun to be able to find your own style in it, but to feel comfortable to go for it. You know, I love that.
Like part of how I navigate, like me conducting the classes, has been setting those like affirmations, those intentions in the beginning, because I feel like as a student, when you walk into a space, class-wise, let's specifically, your goal is always to like just try to get the choreo and then try to have fun doing the choreo, right? But then outside of that, it'll be a little bit up to interpretation in terms of like what you're doing in the space. So as a teacher, I'm like, okay, we will all have our own goals, whatever they may be, but collectively, this is what I want us to keep in the back of our head, which is to be present, like obviously not just physically, but like be mentally present, to contribute as much as you're receiving, whether that's like you cheering on your fellow classmates or like when you walk into other spaces, you're not just taking up space, like you're providing something in return. And then like giving yourself the grace to like figure it all out, because dance has gotten to a point where it's so readily accessible that like our intention to want to be seen trumps us wanting to be nurturing to ourselves and in the process, and not being like as hypercritical with how you do something, but like really letting yourself troubleshoot, figure it out, and giving yourself the grace to do so. But still, obviously, having the drive and the determination to get to that expectation. But like, if you fall short, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, and that can become such a slippery slope.
Yes.
Like, I know for me, mentally, if I fuck up on a move in a class, and if I stick to thinking about how I fucked that up, or like, why did I fuck that up, then it's just I'm gonna keep fucking up. Whatever I'm learning next is not gonna stick, you know, and then that's gonna be a hitch, you know, in the choreo when I get there. But in a space like your class where it's like, yeah, like give yourself that grace to maybe mess up and then find it, it helps get over that stumble so much more quickly, 100%. And then get back to like drilling, and it's like, oh, okay, no, I know what comes next, you know.
Yeah, it's really just about like self-awareness. Like, shout out Gary Vee. He's definitely been a figure that's like helped me get to mentality where I can be of service and not just like a nuisance in people's lives. But it's really just about like understanding your strengths, the areas you can improve on, and then where you see yourself, and realistically knowing what you need to do to get there. Yeah. So like, if you're someone that like, for me, like I would like to teach, I would like to like choreograph and creative direct, and so part of that is like, you know, creating a portfolio and just kind of being out and doing the thing. But I know that I won't get there if I'm just like chilling at home and like, you know, not putting forth effort into choreographing or teaching classes, or, you know, creating projects to like show forth for entities and companies. So it really, just boils down to like, if you're a dancer, or this really just applies to life, like if you know or have it in you that you want to get to a certain place, position in life, whatever that looks like, just really understanding what you need to get there, and then being honest about that journey. Because sometimes, and like I have friends now that kind of deal with this, and I just try to be an example. I try not to like project myself and what I think they should do onto them, but it's like you'll kind of lie to yourself and then walk through that lie hoping you'll stumble into what you want to do. And you know, that might work for some people, but more often than not you'll fall short because you're not being transparent to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And
then that ends up like being projected outward. Like if you lie to yourself, you're lying to other people, and some other people might have the wherewithal to like see through that. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's a foundation built on sand. You know? Like it could be there for that second, and then something will happen and completely shake it, and then you have nothing. Yeah. No, putting your real self, not even your best self, putting your real self forward makes things so much easier in the long run. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you mentioned, like, you know, you're being a choreographer teacher, and you also have the creative director bug too, which definitely gotta mention Lady because that project's still.
Shout out to the home team.
OD,
MJ, salute, Hannah.
I still think that holds up.
Thank you, man. Like,
literally 2 days ago.
I like, that was something that was like one of the things I was archived on my Instagram, and in getting back to just putting myself in a light for people to be seen, or for people to find me and I be seen. I was like, let me pin this on my page so people can see it again. It is on my Instagram. But yeah, Lady was like a passion project where like I just attempted to do it to the best of my capabilities with my resources at the time. But in that experience, I've learned and realized like there's gonna be a point in time where I'm not gonna be physically able and capable anymore, but I would still like to be involved in like helping put together the overall image. And I think opportunities with John doing like the commercial, doing Fish MSG, really settles in the idea of like what I can do and how I can get there and what that even looks like. But Lady was such a fun project to do. It was the first time where I really had to like buckle down and a little like kind of going back to what I was saying before. Like I knew what I wanted to do, and I had to be realistic about what it took to get there. So that was the first time where I had to wear like so many different kinds of hats and like really just stay committed to the thing. Because as a leader in that sense, like you can have people follow and support you, but at the end of the day, it'll fall on you to get it done.
Yeah.
And so that definitely taught me to just like be consistent and like stick it through and just enjoy the overall process of it. Like not to be so tunnel vision and what the end product needs to look like that I lose sight and am not present in the steps getting there.
Right.
Yeah, staying locked in. That, I mean, I don't know, Lady will forever be something that's like obviously attached to me in terms of like a brand and whatnot, but what it took to make that, to create that, will always have like a special place in my heart. Because I feel like I definitely learned a lot of lessons on that for the next, feature short film thing that I create, it'll only increase in quality and production and all that.
Hell yeah. No, yeah, I look forward to. We were talking about it with Salute too, how like I really hope that comes back in style, like concept videos, but like fully developed concept videos, like stories, whatever, just elevating it, so it's not just movement on camera. And I have yet to see anybody do it at that level.
Thank you, man.
Since like a whole album, like
I know, I don't even like. So shout out Mackenzie Dawkins, my sister. Well, first, even farther back, shout out Isosa Oviasu.
Oh yeah,
because he was the dancer that put Masego on my radar.
Oh,
like
shit.
he was the first person that I saw like creating to his songs, and I think this was like music from the Pink Polo album.
Oh yeah, that EP.
So so that was the first I've heard of Masego. And then there was one year where Bold, shout out to Bo Belza, we went to Boston to perform at Quam's Rainbow Showcase event, and during that trip, Mackenzie played the Lady album for me, or like she played a song from it, and then that kind of like reeled me in to listen to the rest of it.
Yeah.
And from there, like, just my brain was going and formulating this kind of story that didn't really make sense with how the album was like structured.
Right.
So then I went to another homie of mine, Jordan Best, who served as like my executive producer / advisor, confidant, to help me really like fine tune the story. We even had to switch around like song order so that it made sense and stuff. But that opportunity really taught me how to outsource in areas where I can't quite do the thing, and being okay with that too. Because I feel like in a lot of times leaders or creators will be so attached to a project that they won't let outside influences come in. And I wanted to be sure that wasn't the case for this one. So like I went to MJ, shout out MJ, to help me like with the visuals of it, and then we put together the team with like Hannah Tran and Mark Salou to help execute it all. And there was only so many things that I can do in terms of like visual aesthetics with framing and composition and things like that. So that was like full trust in their capability and strength, and me just worrying more about like the dancing part of it, the choreography. But that was like a village. It took a village to get that up and going. Yeah.
No, and it was like great to see, because that was, I feel like at that time I was like just getting my feet wet again with the community and stuff. Like this was like not that I was just starting out again, but it was still like towards the beginning of like me coming back and getting involved again. So seeing that project in process was really encouraging about the community that I was stepping into. Because like, oh cool, like people actually support each other here. Like that's awesome. And like you said, there's so many different aspects that people helped out in, like not just talent, like behind the scenes and like Jordan helping out and like offering up his place and everything like that. Yeah,
shooting in his apartment was a fun day. Yeah.
Oh my god, it came out amazing. The viewing party was awesome. Like, like I said, like that whole process, it just seemed like a really cool process to be a part of.
Oh, we were so dead ass about it.
Yeah. but and not even in like a this is gonna change the world type of way. Just like, yo, we're doing something cool.
Yeah, honestly, and that's something that I definitely wanted to get back in terms of just creating, because I was always a creatively inclined, if you will, person. Like, I was making concept videos like in my basement back in like 2011, 2010, and it was super low budget and super cheesy, but it was always that fire in me to just create out of like the love that has kept me going throughout the years. I will say though, to create something of that magnitude or capacity is like, it does take a lot of mental power and I guess know-how, and I can understand how what was the Netflix movie? Tick Tick Boom?
Tick Tick Boom, the musical.
The gentleman that Andrew Garfield plays.
Jonathan Larson.
It took him like a good chunk of his life just to get that thing up and running.
Right.
So like I kind of, obviously Lady didn't go to that extreme in terms of like 10 years or so to create something, but I can empathize with wanting to put so much effort into one thing. It pops off, or whatever happens with it, and then it's like, okay, what's next? And then kind of going back through that cycle. So I try to give myself grace in terms of like the consistency of creating, or like creating from like a pure, authentic place, because you're right. Like I would love to see concept videos or storytelling be a thing that comes back. I feel like a person that just someone I support and like respect as a creator, Tariq J. Patterson. He's like a West Coast. Well, I don't know if he's based out of the West, but he's currently in the West Coast. He's a choreographer, and he recently put out a visual where they were dancing on an overpass, and everyone was wearing like Dickies.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something it was like really good dancing, really good camera work. It wasn't something that was like rooted in a story or concept per se, but it just brought back like
artfully intensive.
Just like wonderfully executed. It took a team to do it, and that put like a battery in my back. Like I don't have to always create lady level things. Like projects like this can exist and still be impactful without feeling like you're going through a 13-song album to make a statement. But
no, I admire work like that because like I know how my brain works creatively, and something that's just a part of my creative process is like justification. Like a lot of things, like if there's a story, if I'm writing a script, for example, and like I know I want something to happen in it, I have to like justify why that happens or whatever, right? But to see something that doesn't necessarily have like a straight narrative where like you're following a story or a character, but it's just cool to look at and aesthetically pleasing and executed at the highest level possible, I want to free my brain up more to do things like that, instead of being like so meticulous about like this has to do this because this has to happen and then that has to happen. I gotta check that out. Who's the choreographer?
Tariq. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Tariq J. Patterson. Tyrik, and then Patterson with 2 T's.
We're gonna watch that after this, cause
and he's also somebody that's been on my radar in terms of like authentically creating. Like I think he did a one-take sequence in his apartment where it was like the frame of the camera will be here, and then it would like shift here, and then come back, and it would be a different image, him like in an outfit change essentially, without cuts. But let's bring that back to Rooster with me and Da.
Oh, Rue?
Rooster. Rue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh my God, that was so
that project, that was another project that was like, I enjoyed myself in the process and like really getting into character in terms of like the acting and stuff like that. So that was something along my journey that like fulfilled me with where I want to be and where I want to go. So like shout out to you for that.
Oh yeah, no, shout out to you guys for actually wanting to do it, and then going in on the choreo. Like I knew the choreo was gonna be good, but I didn't know it was gonna be that good. And then I was like watching it day up, I was like, okay, so we're doing this.
And that's what's up, because like I think we were coming from Boston that weekend, and so we were like finishing it up. And I don't even know if we sent you the choreo.
You sent me like not the whole thing,
right?
Like whatever you had to come up with up until that point.
So it was like you just having so much trust and faith in us to like take on this one area of the overall thing that you wanted to do, and then like trusting us with our acting too. Because I don't think up to that point Da and I had really delved into acting like that, at least like on camera to be recorded. And so like you just being completely open and receptive to that whole process, like, yo, shout out to you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always had you guys in mind for that project. Like whenever that popped into my head, I was like listening to the song and like, yo, this would be fire with dance. And then immediately thinking about like the brother story, I was like, well, it's got to be Edson and Da.
Yo, run that up. Go run that up. Rule. Go run that up.
Yeah, I wrote with you guys in mind. So writing it, I was trying to match your guys' energy, as much as possible to, help you guys. Because I wasn't expecting, Oscar-worthy scene out of it.
You weren't?
Not only because the dance is the highlight.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. Like, if I could come up with something that like I don't even need dialogue to set up and explain, I would just go for it, But that's just how my brain operates. Like I need to tell the story, tell the audience, why basically, because sure, you could leave it up to the audience to figure out, but I don't know. I'm just not that kind of.
I think we need a sequel.
I mean, we could do a sequel, a spin-off.
Maybe I lose an arm in this one.
Whatever. I'll work with y'all on anything, anytime.
Time is now.
The time is now. Right now. We got 3 cameras.
Time is right now.
Let's shoot a concept video.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, we start wrapping up here, but besides teaching, creative directing, is that sort of like the end goal? Not even the end goal, but just the career goal of dance for you, like where it's like if I'm teaching and creative directing, I'm good.
Yeah. I definitely think that is the end goal. I feel like teaching is one of the most fulfilling things for me. Like if I'm not doing anything else dance related and I'm just teaching, I feel like my purpose is in that, being able to like connect with people. It's almost like I'm using teaching as a vehicle to do this grander thing, if you will. And then I will always have a creative side where I would just want to help produce something or help put together a vision. Even when my body's like broken down and tired. So yeah, I think those are 2 things that I definitely would like to continue doing. Who's to say that something else won't pop up down the line and it's like my world is open to that. But for the foreseeable future, those are 2 things I want to definitely commit to and continue to nurture.
Dope. Well, I look forward to more beginner classes from Edson.
At this point in time, I am working on like having a slot going, a steady slot going, both for a beginner class and an intermediate class.
Dope.
Just because like I've enjoyed my time in beginner classes, so I want to be able to stay consistent with that.
Still at Bodega?
Yes. Bodega is like super home base for me.
Yeah.
Nothing against the other studios, but like if it's not EXPG, then it's Bodega.
Exactly, and it is now.
Yeah.
No, it makes complete sense. You can't hang out after class anywhere like that.
It's different vibe, and it's like to each his own. If you as a dancer, as a creative, know what you want, and that involves other studios or other spaces, then so be it. But for me, I know where I want to be and where I feel the most appreciated, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I really want it to be known that it's okay to have room for different styles of learning, different styles of teaching, but also it's okay to know what you like and what you don't like. Certain things are for you and certain things aren't for you, and that's okay too.
Like you're not gonna catch me in a heels class.
Right.
That's not to say I won't be at home practicing something, but you feel me?
Just until I feel comfortable enough to get in public with it.
You ain't gonna catch me looking da-da-dum.
Oh man, no, this has been great. Even though it's the first time.
No, this is the first. I don't know what you're talking about. There's evidence, but there's no evidence. But yeah, no, I appreciate you hitting me up, reaching out, and I always love just connecting with y'all. Whether it's in this environment or just in life.
No, for sure. You were one of the first pure connections I made coming back into dance and stuff. So yeah, you'll always be up there.
Thank you, brother.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Edson Maldonado, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Do you want to let the people know where to find you? Talk about anything coming up, project-wise? You want people to follow?
You could follow me on my Tumblr and Instagram and MySpace. And at this point in time, I mainly just have my Instagram, which is official Edson, not Edison. To those out there ignorant, come on, get it together. I've been around for 15 years now. Official Edson, or just Edson Maldonado on Facebook. At this point in time, the warm-up is coming up, a showcase in Jersey, so I'm going to be performing in that a couple times. Teaching slots, more to come. I'm going to have a summer residency and hopefully into the fall, end of 2023, that'll turn into an official slot at Bodega. Stay tuned for that. But any and everything dance related or life related, you can find and keep up with on my Instagram. Yeah. So reach out. I'm not Hollywood. I'm not a robot. If you want to connect, slide in my DMs and we could be friends. I'm taken, so don't get any funny business.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, what a guy, right? Yeah, I'm looking at you, duh. All right.
And on that, thanks, bro.
My brother.
Appreciate you.
Man.
Peace.
Yes.